Hey, welcome, all my right thinkers. Thanks for tuning in to check out your boy, P Funk. Thinking right out here in the lab. What I do, what I do for you. I got a nice lesson for you out the book today. Woosah. Let's go. Rightism 25 was led by storytelling. Story with a message. The message of the story for life. I give life lessons. You tune in and receiving them. I see the numbers looking good. I hope everything working out for you. Let's do what we do. Right thinking mission, and that's what I'm on. Is to enlighten, inspire, educate, and motivate you, the individual, to a higher spiritual level of enlightenment. Right thinking way of life through mental and spiritual discipline daily will help and guide you to attain your goal of spiritual enlightenment, aka to know thyself. My mission is that all right thinkers do just that. And I see you coming on board, so I got to do what I got to do to make sure you get up where you need to be to know thyself. That should be your goal. My mission is to give you the opportunity to do just that. If you tune in for me, that's what I'm giving you. Let's go. That's what you come here for. That's what I'm gonna give you to you. Let's go. Know thyself. We talk a question, but if you don't have the answer for yourself, tune in. I can help you with that. That's what I do for you. A person who knows not and knows not that they know not is foolish. Disregard them. A person who knows not and knows that they know not is simple. You teach them. That's why I do what I do for you. I appreciate you. Stay tuned. I got you. A person who knows not and believes and think they know, dangerous. Avoid them. I do. A person who knows but knows not that they know is spiritually asleep. I'm the spiritual alarm clock here to wake you up with knowledge of self. That's what I do for you. A person who knows and knows that they know is wise. Follow them. All these persons reside in you. Know thyself. Until my act be true. We still there. We're still here. Getting some philosophical concepts set forth by Mayat thousands of years ago. Remember, so understand that. Today we're going to talk about right thinking. Let's talk about how a liberated sage sees the world. It started out being the illumination of the mind with the truth of Maya. I just rearranged a few things and took a few things out, but get the lesson. So, lesson today is about how a liberated sage sees the world. When you become spiritually enlightened, or you reach that level of nihas, anointment, Mahdi, all those things, Christhood, horsehood, when you reach that, this is what happens. When this transcendental experience occurs, there is once again what the experience of the oneness of existence. The illusion of the mind has dissolved back into the primordial ocean of infinite being from which the creation arose. This is the conscious perception of the what? Liberated sage endowed with spiritual enlightenment. The enlightened sage, here you go, perceived him or herself. Remember, it ain't just a man thing. It's him or herself as that what? Primordial God who arose out of the primordial ocean waters with what? The original thought, and the entire creation is that same primeval ocean, which only appears to what? Change into an irreversible, change into what? Multiplicity of, of various objects of creation, but never did truly what? Did undergo an irreversible transformation. In this manner, the discipline of what? Maya, or the practice of living according to what is real and true, leads to the conscious perception of that which is what? Real and true. Now let's talk about how a liberated sage sees the world as it truly is. And what's that? A manifestation of what? Netter. Remember, netter is concepts of God, forces that elements of God. And through the netters, while what? While the netters appear as what? Objects in the world of time and space, to the ignorant masses, the sage knows them to what? Be expressions of the divine. I know that in much the same way as everything in your dream is in reality expressions of your own mind. You can only dream what's in here from your own conscious mind. Okay, so understand that. Furthermore, let's talk about this right quick. Furthermore, a liberated sage perceived him or herself again as what? The primordial ocean from which all arises through what? Thoughts. Ptah thought himself into existence. Thus, what is considered to be what? Existence is in reality what? A set of thoughts from ultimate, from the cosmic mind. Boy, I like that. Which have what? Stirred up in the ocean of primeval consciousness. Consciousness is what? Is devoid of time and space. It is eternal and ever abiding. Therefore, the universe and the primeval ocean are what? Understood to be one and the same by and what? An enlightened sage. While an unenlightened people see the world full of multiplicity of objects which exist in a time and space. And most people are really unaware of this level of what? Consciousness, and remain as it is what? At the surface of an ocean, like just being on top of the ocean, themselves just right there, and living beings and objects in the world as what? Various ways rise and continually fall, and sometimes rising and rescinding gently, and other times crashing into each other with great force. That's the cycle of life, so to speak. But watch this. When you are on the surface up top, the ocean, you may experience gentle conditions when it's nice, everything is cool. But guess what? You will be experienced buffeted around, thrown around to and fro. However, if you go down, like my man say, just dive a little deeper into yourself, you would dive deep enough, you would what? Experience absolute tranquility. At the top of the ocean, pretty much. You go 10, 20 feet down, well, you ain't bothered by none of that. That's the concept. That's tranquility. And even if there is, watch this, a raging storm up above, this diving deep into the ocean of your consciousness is accomplished through what? Various practice of what? Yoga. Studying proficiently the teachings, meditating on them, and offering a selfish service, promoting Hotep, which is peace, supreme peace, in all situations, etc. You have to be your best self at all times. I'm trying to get myself to be that all the time. Don't get upset. Don't get happy. Don't get, no, try to maintain. Okay, that's what's important. And liberated sage works on that. So practicing. Let's go. Now, excuse me. In this manner, the discipline of what? Maya, or right thinking philosophy, practice of living according to what is what? True and real. Maya set forth 1,000 years ago these principles and concepts that they lived by, and they lived in harmony as a society for thousands of years. But watch this. When you live what is true, real and true, it leads to what? Conscious realization or perception of that which is real and true. You started to know what you need to know. And at the deepest level, watch this, the source of all things is to be discovered. Yourself, your higher self. This source is variously known as who? Asar. Remember, he's the sixth element, the spirit that's in man. The other five are elements that you can be. So you got Asar, excuse me, you got Amun, then you got Nebercha, the all-encompassing, then you got Aset, etc. It's many aspects of God. That's what they're trying to show you. And this source is what? Also your innermost self. All these people reside in you. All these things are you. The body, again, is of the earth. The soul belongs to heaven. That's an ancient Egyptian proverb, not modern, long way back. So if they tell you that now, they didn't make it up. It's been around a long time. Okay, let me try to get this thing over. I see my time is running. Now, as stated earlier, we know that Maya is that which is what true, and that which is true is what ceaseless. When you see her, she got the feather. That feather don't move. You know, notice that feather don't do nothing. It's ceaseless. Watch this, and it's regular from what the beginning to the end. She's still what she started out being. She's still that. I'm protecting that. Why? 'Cause I'm living it. I'm keeping it alive. Therefore, all developments in between the beginning and the end, which seem to arise and fall, to be born, let that nature, to have life, and then to what? Die, are in reality what? Illusions of what? The mind. If you think death is the end, then you scared to die. That's crazy. Why? Because that's going to happen. That don't make much sense. When you built on fear, false evidence appearing real, that's what being scared of death is. They giving you bad information and you believe it to be real, so you're scared to death. Don't do that. When you have a keen insight into what? The wisdom of the four states of consciousness, which is waking, dream, dreamless, and then sleep. And into what? The teachings of who? My girl, Maya, will provide an effective means to what? Transverse the miseries of human existence, suffering, nonsense, and to lead the what? You, the aspirant, right thinker, to what? The innermost shrine, that abode of what? Absolute truth, which is symbolized by what? By the aspirant's movements, which is closer, what brings you closer and closer to what? The Holy of Holies, where who? Asar is located. Remember, Asar is who we are in spirit. When we go back to that spirit, we need to be on point, and the faith scales of Maya will test your heart to see if you have lived a righteous life. Simple as that. So get understanding. And they give you everything you need. They give you the blueprint, lay it out. All you gotta do is follow it. That's what I do. Just give the information. All you gotta do is implement it. Try to make it easy for you. Now watch this. Now, here we at. Okay. The aspirant moves closer and closer to a star as what he or she does what? Pass the test of what? The various SRs assessments of what? Maya, or known as the 42 confessions, and the god and goddesses who what? Uphold each one of the 42 major precepts of Maya. Those gods that sit up there, they sit in judgment. But then you got the 42 for every time you claim you haven't done nothing, that God in you will say yay or nay for you. If not, that's where you're going to have a problem. So understand that. And this, watch this. This coupled with what? The identification of the name of you, the aspirant, with that as of Asar, symbolizes what? The atonement of the initiate, which with his or her innermost cosmic being, which is identical with that of the supreme being, aka Asar. So when you go into your next life, your first name is Asar Mar. Okay, male, female, first name gonna be Asar. Why? Because you are spiritually enlightened and you are passing over into eternity where he dwells. And watch this. Now, the belief again in the physical body and of the human personality as being real and abiding is what? Untrue. Again, the belief in the physical body and the human personality as being real is abiding is untrue. Why you say that? What's this? While the belief in human soul as the abiding, eternal, real self is the truth. That's why the body not going to be around. What's inside the body? Well, that's what you need to understand. And watch this, which is what? The soul, which is the innermost reality of your essence, and the sustainer of what? Your astral and physical body. What's inside you makes the body all gives it life. And this is the true essence of your being. The discipline of Maya is the way or vehicle to what? Achieve this realization in conscious facts. You can live righteous and you will be rewarded for that. That's been ancient times. Now, modern times, so you just believe in Jesus and everything's good. So everybody has a belief system. This was a philosophical system that you can implement and live by. Wrapping it up. Now, it must be clearly understood that the practice of right thinking philosophy, aka Maya or righteous action, alone without the wisdom of the self will not lead to supreme perfection. You will not get where you're trying to go. Why? The initiatic yogic wisdom and the humanity which develop with what selfish service are necessary to promote the understanding of what the truth in much the same way that dirt is cleansed with soap. Living my yacht takes away all the bad stuff out your character. It gets you to be your best self. When you put soap in the water to scrub out the dirt, that's what my yacht is. That's what they're trying to tell you. It's a good concept. I like that one. Watch this. So there are many who, watch this, who follow the teachings of righteousness, religious groups, and may even be sincere. I know some. However, here's a lot of problem. They do not achieve higher spiritual realization, nor are they able to control what? The egoism of their minds. If you haven't put that ego in check, that's the bugaboo for a lot of people. And at times, they may seem what? Humble, forthright, they're acting right, and watch this, at peace. And at other times, here's the problem. They may have flights of passion, anger, and may be tormented with what? Continued flow of desires of the flesh, mental and physical. The mental state of conflict persists. Why? Because they have not proceeded beyond the intellectual level. Reading about it, understand it, yo, that's fine. But are you implementing? Are you using it? Knowing it don't mean jack. We know right from wrong. We still do wrong. So it's what you do. The teachings, when they misunderstand, excuse me, when you just they haven't went beyond the intellectual level of the teachings. Yeah, they have not been able to what? Achieve higher spiritual realization of the inner truth which lie what? Beyond the conscious mind. If you use your mind and senses in order to determine what is real, what is a cause of happiness and what is not, etc., you are using an incomplete method, which will always what? Fall short. Your soul longs for the entire truth of its true nature, not bits and pieces. The mind senses can only perceive minuscule pieces of the truth. The mind is what? Limited and therefore cannot perceive the truth in its totality. Therefore, there is always somewhat lingering, unfulfilling desires, absolute truth, and transcendental peace, which leads to what? Mastery over self in the relative world cannot be found by intellectual perfection, one's knowledge of the wisdom teacher. If you are not in total control, your ego in check, you will not succeed in reaching the level of spiritual enlightenment. Why? You still got weaknesses. So whenever the mind is used, you will encounter what? Imperfect perceptions, which are limited by what? The notions of the mind and the ability of what? Your senses. The only way to perceive the truth is what? Not to use the mind and the senses. Heart, mind coherence. They should be working as one. It ain't what you see, hear, taste, touch, or smell. So it ain't about that. It's a high level. I got more, but that's gonna be for another lesson. But my time is about to run out. Hope you got the lesson of what A liberated sage. He sees the world. That was the idea. Hope you got the lesson. I'll be back.